do this, do that. It's a whole conspiracy against him. But think about this. What does Brian McNamee gain by lying? All right, if he lies, he goes to jail. Telling the truth keeps him out of jail. So to me, Clemens here has a humongous weight to show people that he is in fact innocent. And just coming out and talking about that, any sort of evidence, McNamee's got needles and things. Clemens is going to go to jail, and he's only making it worse for himself, not just in the public opinion, but frankly in terms of probably sentencing at some point.
He has dug his heels in on this, and there's no doubt that he is in this for the full fight exactly this way. But the thing is, he comes out and he's got an opportunity a number of times to say something, decides not to, then goes on a national radio show and says nothing. I mean, says absolutely nothing new. I understand the burden of proof should not be on the person that's accused, counselor, but I mean, at the same time, he's in a situation right now where he's got to make something happen.
Well, Clemens put this on his own. He did not. He can go on TV and radio and say whatever he wants. He's not going to go to jail for saying anything and deny it. A-Rod, when he went on Katie Couric's show and 60 Minutes and said, I never used it, he's not going to go to jail for that. It was, I think, when he went to Congress and he didn't have to. He wasn't even asked to come to Congress. He said, I want to go to Congress. I want to state my case to Congress. By doing that, he put himself in jeopardy. And they're like, well, McNamee's saying one thing, you're saying the other. One of you's lying.
Do you think it's appropriate at this point in time, it's 2009, to be talking about things that happened in 2001, 2003, even 2005, before Major League Baseball implemented and started to initiate a policy regarding steroids? I mean, is it really a moot point? Should we just look forward from 2009?
Absolutely. I think you should look forward. I mean, what does it serve baseball to look back at all the horrors that has obviously happened with steroids and performance-enhancing drugs? It's become a witch hunt, frankly, and baseball's involving itself with, investigating A-Rod, this and that. That was years ago, okay? Let's look forward at the guys getting caught now and who are going to get caught in the future, because you can't retroactively slap a suspension or a penalty on a guy when he was doing it when it wasn't banned by baseball. So why even go there for
Well, that's
baseball?
why I ask about the little asterisk, because, of course, you know, baseball historians all talk about the Roger Maris asterisk, you know, with the 61 season. But I wonder how many asterisks will be in the record books if they implement these steroid policies and say, well, he got this, but he was on steroids, he made this number or had this average. Right.
As someone who keeps statistics, it's going to be impossible. I mean, I can't even fathom the mess they would create even wading into that topic.
Okay, take away the statistics then and talk about Cooperstown and talk about Hall of Fame. I mean, will that come into play when people are up for the Hall and baseball writers or people are voting?
It already has. I mean, Mark McGwire, who without the taint of steroids would be probably a first ballot Hall of Famer, is I think hasn't cracked 30% of the vote yet when 75% is needed for induction. So I think eventually the writers are going to have to figure this out, or otherwise nobody's going to be inducted for quite a while.
That's the thing. I mean, you really have to decide at this point. Either you don't let anybody in from this era, or you let all the guys who deservingly should be in there, regardless of performance-enhancing drugs. So do we really know? You know, Sosa is always grouped in with these other guys. But last time I checked, Sosa hasn't failed any tests. There's never been any proof that Sammy Sosa took anything. Other guys, remember when Pudge Rodriguez came back and had lost a ton of weight, claimed he found love. Jeff Bagwell's forearm shrunk to half its size. They've never been proven to have taken anything. Mike Piazza's name's been out there, but we don't have any proof. So either you're going to let these guys in, or you don't let any of them in, or you start a whole new wing, and then above the door you put in the urinal and you say, steroid era, these guys are in. Because you can't just selectively pick.
Then you carve up that part of the Hall of Fame and you make sure that you get your Greenies era, you make sure that you get your guys who doctored the baseball era, you make sure that you get your guys during the cocaine era. I mean, you're going to have to break this thing up in a lot of different ways.
I just mentioned Roger Maris. I mean, during that whole chase that 1 year, there was the allegations that Mickey Mantle was taking the fountain of youth drug, whatever it was, that even President Kennedy had been rumored to have used. That was, Dr. Feelgood provided that kind of stuff. I mean, I guess you really could go back in every decade and there would be something that they used to get them through the day.
But I don't think you can stick performance-enhancing drugs in the steroid era in with all those. I understand what you're saying, Scott, with the greenies, the dead ball, the corked bat era. the cocaine era. Cocaine's not going to help your game, okay? It's only going to hurt. Greenies will get you up for the game on an individual on that day's performance.
Right.
But when you're talking, and a corked bat will help you until you get caught. But in terms of steroids, you are physically altering your body, your makeup.
How about the outfielder who's going into the gap, and one guy turns to another when he comes up just that little bit short of making the catch and says, you know what, another couple of milligrams, he would have had it. I mean,
well, but
it's true. I mean, if you've been around it, I actually drug trafficked once without realizing it. I had a player come up to me and say, hey, is this ex-player over in the clubhouse? Yeah. You do me a favor and bring this to him? Why? Just do it. Okay. I brought it over. He said, oh, this is from him. This is the good one. I said, the good what? He said, oh, it's a bean. Well, for crying out loud, you just made me drug traffic from one place to the other. I didn't even realize I was doing it.
Well, don't tell baseball. They may retroactively come after you. You know how. But you know what it is? They were popping those like Skittles, frankly. When you're right, the amphetamines were something really up to only a year or two ago. They were being popped left and right, and they were sitting there literally in the clubhouse. But the reality is that'll get you up for a game. And you're right. Some guys can barely drag themselves to the ballpark to play, which amazes me. They're playing a kids game for millions.
Really?
I mean, but the reality is when you're pumping yourself and shooting steroids into your body, and you're physically changing your appearance and your ability to be stronger, faster, whatever else these drugs do, we really don't know the total effects. Reality is, that's a permanent change you're making to yourself.
All right, I'm going to check back in really quickly before we say goodbye with our Facebook friends, because we asked your opinion, and I do like to give you a chance to be interactive. Steve has written to me and says, I'm surprised at the gambling, bad, steroids, good attitude of professional sports. I'll reconsider my position on steroids when they let Pete Rose into the Hall of Fame. He's a creep, but fair's fair. That's another show. Brian says, thanks for adding me, Lynn. And no, I do not think they should be welcomed back. They are cheaters. That's the point right there that I'm going to end this show on and get an opinion very quickly from all of our guests. Are they, in your mind, anyone who has used drugs or continues to use performance-enhancing drugs, are they cheaters?
Oh, I think they're cheaters. I mean, I think that especially now at this time when you have a procedure, when you know what the rules are laid out. That makes difference. Manny Ramirez as opposed to the people before.
Okay, Scotty?
No more so than anybody else who did anything else that came before them.
Okay. How many people came before them? Because we were talking before that since the policy was implemented 2 years ago, there's only been less than 5 really major league players that we know.
But you're an idiot to get caught now. Just, but let me.
I thought you were calling me an idiot.
No, you're an idiot.
Words, okay. But I only have about 15 seconds left. But I mean, do you think the policy's working?
I think it's working to a point. Could be tougher, and you can really clamp down by making it more